All right, welcome to the CHRILLCAST. I'm Will.
And I'm Timmy.
And I'm Billy.
Today is the Throwback Thursday, as Chris says. But first, you guys go ahead and introduce the audience to your channels if they haven't, watched the last 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, I'm Timmy, and I am from Tell Me More, and we talk about internet culture things and interesting people, and that's about it.
Soon, animal sex.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a little of that.
Maybe we'll talk about krill sex. You never know. All right.
Too
the
much.
fandom you just opened, Will. The fandom that you just
opened. Yes. A lot of
Um,
expectations. Sorry, Billy. Go ahead.
No, I'm just fucking. I'm Billy. I make video game stuff. It's good. It's very
really
fun
good.
to make. I like it.
Fun to watch.
Well, links will be in the description for both of their channels. And then you'll probably see that Chris is missing, but he will still be editing. So on the screen right now, I'm sure Chris has some videos of their channels.
And he's here in all of our hearts.
Yes, exactly. And he's still talking to us in the chat, because although he didn't have time to be on here with us, somehow he's still talking to us. Just kidding, Chris. Okay. So our topic for today, being that it is launch week, I figured we would rewind back to 2000 and 2001 to when the rivalry between Xbox and the PlayStation started. So I have some stats I'm going to read off first, and then we'll jump into it. So the PlayStation 2 released in November 24, 2000 in Europe and Australia. Technically, they released in October in North America, but for this to work in November, I flubbed that a little bit. And then it offered backwards compatibility with the PS1. I think that was the first iteration of the DualShock controller, if I'm not mistaken. And it's also the best-selling video game console of all time. Part of that is because it was the first system to also have a DVD player, and it was way cheaper than just buying a DVD player. So part of that, it was like the first all-in-one entertainment console. Went from just being a video game console to also having a shared media with other systems. It sold over 155 million units, which is just crazy to me. And then it also released over 3,800 game titles, and it had 1.5 billion copies sold across all of those titles. Now we get into the Xbox, and none of those numbers are going to be as high. So the OG Xbox released November 15th, 2001, almost the same day as the Xbox Series X. It was noted for being essentially a PC console. It basically had the same architecture as PCs at the time. And it was also the first console to have a built-in hard disk drive, which was a big deal. And I mean, that changed the industry. I think every single system after that at least had the option to put in the hard disk. Until now. Now we have the SD instead. And then the system went on to sell 24 million units, so a lot less than the PlayStation 2. But it did release 1 year after. It did sell more than the GameCube, though. So, rest in peace, GameCube. It did sell 60 million units in North America. 2 of those actually went into my household. And then
doing your part.
Yep, exactly. Trying to support. However, it did not make a profit off that console. It lost about $4 billion during its life.
That sounds
and
like
yet,
Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. It does sound like Xbox. And yet they still made, 360, and they're still making consoles to this day. So for the topics for today, just kind of discuss our own experiences with these launches, if we remember them, if we actually got the consoles at launch, and if we remember the hype, and do we think that the hype today is more or less than the hype during, the early 2000s?
I can say, so when they launched, I was very, very young, but with their launches, the thing that I think, you talking about the hype, I just want to key in on that for 2 seconds. I really think that any systems before the PS4 and the Xbox One, the hype was amazing, because a lot of that was this is very new to a lot of people at the time, home console entertainment systems, especially with these 2 in particular, because these ones were the prime of hype for a lot of people, in terms of people have played a lot of 3D games, but these ones really started mastering the 3D game. And I think it was a lot better, because nowadays everyone has PCs, everybody has PS4s, Xboxes. They're cool, but not a lot has changed. While with the PS2, you were going from like almost cubic looking graphics, like from like things like Tomb Raider and things like Dino Crisis games to like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, where it was like more polished, and it was just amazing. I mean, like it was a really cool like turn for consoles, like for all generations. So I think the hype was a lot better back then. I think it was like way more intensive for these systems to come out. And so
yeah, I agree. I feel like there was more hype, but I don't know, PlayStation at the time, having the DVD, that was such a big sell point for me. And I was very young too, but a little older, a little more wise than you were, Billy. 12, 11 at the time, maybe. Yeah,
I was
11.
4.
Doing some math.
Yeah. Billy was the super sperm that we were talking about.
I absorbed a lot
completely out of context. No one's gonna get that.
I just remember like analyzing the boxes on Christmas and being like, is that, like, I think that's the size of the Xbox box. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be what it would come in, And I ended up, it ended up being a PlayStation 2, and I had asked for the Xbox, but yeah, it was the best. No, it was actually the best thing that ever happened because, like, I was honestly conflicting the Blu-ray player with the next iteration, which is another thing that Sony was like, what can we do to be a little bit more, strategic in this category? And that was the Blu-ray with the next gen. But with having DVD in the first one, I remember like getting that PlayStation and absolutely loving it, and then also the fact that all of my friends were playing PlayStations too. Like it did sell more, and it was just in my circle at least like the console,
Yeah.
But
yeah, so
nothing against Xbox though.
Yeah, the Xbox was so cool. I still love it today. I think it might be my favorite console. And we had a PlayStation 2 at the same time in the household, but I fell in love with Halo. So I guess I'm more of a Halo fanboy. If Halo switched consoles, I would be like Xbox, like like
right. Yeah.
I wouldn't care. I would never play him again. But
that's why I'm so sad for you, and like for me a little bit, but more for you because I know it's dear to you. But like I felt like Halo was gonna be the title for a while.
Yes.
Know.
Well, you can tell from all the marketing material that it was because everything has Halo on it.
Right.
So yeah, it's a bummer. But back to like the original launches, like I don't remember the PlayStation 2 coming out. I mean, I was 8. No, I guess I was 7. And like I don't know. I remember my brother just kind of showing up with it, and like there it was. So I was like, okay. I was playing, Donkey Kong and Star Fox on the N64, so I was fine. You can have whatever that weird thing is. And then, because at the time everything was still a Nintendo to me,
right?
So I was like, why doesn't that Nintendo play Mario? That's dumb. But by the time the Xbox came out, I still I had not asked for it or anything like that. But I remember opening it and I put it in that like the first game I had which was actually Amped, and I remember thinking, wow, the graphics on this are freaking mind blowing.
Right.
So like. The hype came after, like once I actually got my hands on the system, I was like, this is unbelievable. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Right. And the rest is history. I never looked back. But besides a couple times, like when Spider-Man was announced for PlayStation 4, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
to get that system. But yeah, I think as far as like the actual hype around the system, though, like obviously, like looking back, I would say this, even though the hype for the systems in the 90s was a bigger deal, just because I think it was more unique and it was a more of a kind of a, even though it's more popular now, I would say because it was more niche at that time, people were more passionate. So you had the more passionate people coming out for those systems. Whereas now it's much more in the mainstream, but I think that also has kind of watered down the experience a little bit.
Right. It's less organic and more like orchestrated. That's kind of what I was joking on the yesterday's episode where I said like they're in cahoots, but like they really are,
Yep.
They realize that they're their only other competition really at this point, and they can release in the same week when they haven't released in 7 years. It's kind of strange.
Mm-hmm. And they both know like they're going to make money on it, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. The best thing to do is to keep the competition Yeah.
Well, even with Xbox is like we don't view Sony as a competitor. Yes, they do. That's such a lie.
Right. And like their feel good, like fun time Twitter, like we're all friends here, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Only because Sony finally decided to be cool.
Yeah. It was funny that Microsoft said that like the like Amazon and Google Stadia was their competitors. It's like those consoles are going nowhere. It's like, are you saying that low a bar for yourself? That's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's like a giant like stepping on a peasant, like, oh, this guy he's gonna take my stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So dumb.
Guys, Stadia was a giant. It was a great thing. It was amazing.
Okay, so Google is a giant.
Yes.
Wow. See, it just picked up because it's always around me. Stop.
Yes.
But
well, it's like
Stadia.
Google and Amazon. Honestly, they both like those try everything. They throw everything at the wall and they hope something sticks.
Right.
That's how those consoles feel. I mean, I like the purple Luna controller, but that's about it.
Yeah.
It's cool looking.
I know we're not talking about it, but I totally like. I just think streaming games is like a really tough thing to do, and so I can see why it didn't turn out for them. Not to go on to that topic, but it's just
right.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, it's related. Xbox can stream now, so I mean, I was actually just playing Halo 5 on my phone right before this podcast, so it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah,
and that's free.
It's interesting too. Like we kind of we're in an amazing time. And I feel like I got a little bit more of it than you guys did because, I remember like Nintendo 64 and like, that breaking my brain. I was like, what? Like, it's not just a 2D, like walk through the map, like old Zelda style, we're never going to see that again. So like every console, every time I saw it was like, blew my mind, like seeing I remember seeing the original Xbox and like that I couldn't understand how good it looked. It was a Toys R Us, like it had like the controller that you couldn't steal because it was bolted to a big plastic thing and it was all in a bubble. And like I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And every time a console releases that way, and now I feel like we're already at like a point where the transitions are never going to be as dramatic as they were every launch before these. So everyone's still going to be like, oh my god, this looks so great. And like, yeah, when you look over the landscape, Elder Scrolls title that'll be released in 15 years, that you'll see like way more detail in the trees.
Yeah, you can like zoom in and it still looks good. But
right, and there's like a bald eagle like feeding their chicks, but like that's cool. But like it's not like we took the square
that would blow my freaking mind.
Round boobs with physics,
Yes.
I think the biggest thing too is like, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I think it's like knowing what they're gonna like, expecting what's gonna come. Like our expectations when we first were getting this was like, what are they gonna do next? Like this is crazy. There's literally nowhere else they could go with it. And then they went higher, and then they went better, and then they went. And now with like even with PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, like I think they're cool, and I think it's awesome they're doing this. But like, they're not really doing anything for graphics wise. Like the only thing they're really doing is like amping up like loading times will be dead, and you'll get some things like ray tracing and stuff, but like what's going to happen when PS6 comes out? Like it's going to be like, we already expect like so much, and we know the route they're going to go. Like that's kind of why Nintendo is almost magic to me, because you're like, what are they doing over there? Like what is happening?
It is funny to me too that like neither of them are really doubling down on the you got to get the Kinect or the the 3D sensors. Like everyone last launch along 7 years ago or whatever, everyone was talking about how like 3D and augmented is going to be, then like the next console won't even have a disc drive, and it'll be just wearing on your head, like, or it'll just be a computer. Either way, we kind of went the computer route, it appears, but that's not included in the package. You got to have it part of the experience. Like neither of them wanted to maybe force people into it, and maybe they learned that from the, I don't even know, Nintendo Switch or Wii style stuff. Like people didn't really like having to swing every time. They really like to just turn the controller sideways and play a button smash game. I don't know. There's something ingrained in that. I think it's respectable too. Like, I know we're not talking about the new consoles again. I keep getting off of our throwback subject here, boys. I apologize, but it's not. It's respectable to me that they're not doubling down on some crazy technology that no one wants to be forced to use.
the Xbox.
Yeah, back to the expectations thing though. It's like
Virtual Boy, I was thinking.
where I actually thought, yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, headache-inducing machine. So, like what I thought you're actually gonna go with is how I feel like I know everything that's gonna happen before it happens now. It's like either from leaks or they announce everything like 4 years ahead of time.
Right.
I know what's gonna happen, so there's no surprise to me anymore. Whereas like during the original Xbox and PS2 days, and even into the 360 and PS3, like again, around the corner could be something completely new and unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Now
it's like forced hype and yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the exact thing with like again, like not even to like change top, but well, I guess it's still related, but like that's why I still like value Nintendo as like an actual competitor because like in my eyes like they always have that console that either like it comes out of nowhere like with the Wii U and they were like holy crap like you're gonna be able to transfer your game like you can play the game on the pad or the TV. And then the Switch came out and like blew minds. Like nobody ever thought that we could have like really good generation gaming on like a handheld.
Yes.
But yeah, like I agree with that. That's what I meant. Like I totally have that same mindset.
And even with Nintendo, they shadow drop huge games. So like they'll just be like, oh yeah, this game's coming out today. It's like, how did we not know about this? Like Cyberpunk, I see the shirt. We've known about that for like 7 years now. Like they announced that like during The Witcher 3.
Yeah, Siri like mentioned it in the cutscene.
Yeah. So the thing is like how amazing would that have been if they had announced that like a month ago? And it's like this is coming out this holiday. It's like this amazing freaking game, or at least hopefully amazing. But
they probably maybe it's strategic, man. Maybe it honestly is like they don't want the hype. They want the hype a little bit after the release. You know what I mean? Like maybe there is some sort of marketing bump to it, especially dropping right before Christmas. Like they can't remanufacture that initial hype, but they can get people talking about it. They can get people mad about it right now. Anybody that's mad about it right now is still going to buy that video game. Sorry. You know what I mean? Like you didn't like, I'm never going to play another CD. Yeah, there's people who are saying that on Twitter. They're still going to buy that video game.
Yes.
I'm with that. I'm with it.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, guys.
I'm sharing your TED Talk.
Yes. So you guys have any more topic or anything more on this topic, rather?
It was just a beautiful time. I miss those days. Yeah,
it was a lot simpler, too. I missed the boot-up screen of the original Xbox and also the PlayStation. I really like the PlayStation boot-up screen.
You know what was beautiful was you didn't have to, after the boot-up screen, that was it.
Exactly.
It wasn't like, oh, wait, you gotta install the game?
Oh, gosh, it's awful. That's the worst thing ever. Like honestly, like I've been gravitating more and more towards 360 PS3 games because I don't have to load them. I pop them in. I don't have to download for 4 hours to get the damn game.
I feel like a boomer when I come on your podcast because I'm always like, yeah, back in my day, you blew in one side and you stuck it in there and put it right up. You know, today
I miss that too. We should go back to cartridges.
Clouds and
I want to blow on the cartridge again.
Never do that, by the way. But yes,
I know I never have helped. But man, as a kid, you really thought I did.
I'm blowing the dust off. I'm like, no, you're putting spit on the connector pins. That's what you're doing.
You're ruining it. But man, and as a kid, it's like you really definitely felt like that helped.
Oh yeah. I don't know how many I bought from like pawn shops and shit. Now, sorry for the bad word. I say right?
Yeah, you're fine.
Good. Well, yeah, I don't know how many I bought from pawn shops that are just like, you look inside and it's like, someone was just like every time putting it in there. Yep.
Yeah. Simpler times though. I do like the. I know this is totally unrelated, but I really like the new Duke controller. How the boot up screen is actually on the controller for the original Xbox. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool too.
It's super gimmicky, and I mean, probably like 10 people bought that, but I love it.
No, listen, I was one of the people that bought that, so I feel you, man. It was really cool.
Yeah. Saying back to the market. Well, just real quick about the marketing and the genius of Microsoft. And Billy agrees. I'm sure I can see it in his eyes. Genius of Microsoft. My buddy won one of the Taco Bell ones.
Really?
Yeah.
And so that actually happens. They actually.
Yes. And when you power it on, I swear to God, you power it on. It makes the dong sound, like the Taco Bell sound.
Dude, working at GameStop, I've never seen that system in my entire life. Like, I wanted to.
I'm pretty sure it looks like a normal Xbox, other than when you power it on, it's literally like, dong.
That's so
awesome.
Cool, dude.
once. It would make me hungry every time it turned on.
Yeah. As an app for Taco Bell.
When he told me that, I was like, I don't believe you. He was like, he was playing a game, he turned it off and then turned it on. And I was like, all right, cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Lot to prove your point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have the special edition for the 360, the Star Wars one. So when you turn it on, it sounds like R2D2. It makes
What?
Yeah.
Cool.
I've
And
never seen that either. That's
I didn't know
cool.
they even
I got
did-
it from GameStop. So if you actually eject the disk drive too, it says like written on the disk drive, it says, "Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope."
Wow.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it comes with the C3PO controller.
That I've never seen that
Shiny.
either. That's cool.
That is awesome.
It is really cool. Yeah, it's my favorite version of 360 actually, other than the original Halo 3 one.
Say, to get back to a little throwback, that reminds me of I got the GoldenEye edition of the Nintendo 64 back in
Oh, that's
the
awesome.
the gold controller.
That's so cool. So my brothers had all the colored controllers, and I had a gray one, and I was always so pissed. But like my
Like
brother
a-
is like,
Weak stick that was like flopping around.
yeah. But it's like they had it designated like certain colors were the different players. So like gray was the fourth player, but blue was 1, red was 2, and then green was 3. It's like, so I had to like fight my way up the ranks to get the other color. That's crazy. I still remember that, but yeah.
I love the clear purple. Like anytime I see any translucent purple, I just think Nintendo. I mean, they really
Yeah,
they
dude.
got me hard with that.
All right. Well, I think we're done with this topic.
Yeah.
This is not a nostalgic trip. So with that, as always, I'm Will,
I'm Timmy.
And I'm Billy.
and we'll catch you on the next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.